Good evening. I've got two hands here. Hand number one is Queen Jack Hearts. I'm in the cutoff, and I posted. This hand occurred a while ago. I know if I was playing the hand today, I would not be posting. I would just wait for the big blind. So, under the gun limps. Only have two hands on him. Doesn't mean much, but I'm going to guess since he limps, he's a fairly weak player. Villain raises to 5.5. I have raise EP limper from MP with Queen Jack off. I have he's playing 32-15. Let's see his raise limpers stat. Raise with previous limpers 9%. His call is 27% in these situations. His raise first in's 24%. So I do think he's probably going to be somewhat wide. I think we're probably looking at something maybe all pocket pairs versus limpers. I'd give something like that. Maybe all suited aces. We're at 17.3%. I mean, 32-15. I think we're going to have to find some more hands to give him. So maybe all of the pocket pairs. Maybe give him suited gappers. I guess probably the broadways. So at 23.4, it's 24%. It's probably his range, and it's on us. So what do we do? Do we just call? Do we raise? We don't know anything about villain 9 yet, other that he limps. Limping is probably a weak range, probably a weak player, and I would guess that he's probably going to fold. A lot of these limpers will do that. They limp and then they fold to a raise because they're hoping to see a cheap flop. And now, with the raise, it puts them out of position. They have to call something more with a weak hand. What about the rest of these players? Really, he's the loosest player. 32-6 over 90 hands. 21% call preflop 2-bet. He calls 25%. I have to imagine that possibly if I call, one of the blinds maybe calls. 50%, 1 out of 2 hands for that player. We're looking at, 0 out of 7, 0 out of 6. So more than likely he's going to call. He's going to fold. If he calls, he's got a decent hand. Villain 8 may call. Still gives us position. What about raising? Interestingly, fold to 3-bet after a raise is 1 out of 16. So my guess is that if I raise, he's going to be calling with basically his entire range here. And I'm just building up a pot. How do we fare against this? Let's see. Let's get heads up here. Because if I raise, guaranteed that limper's going to fold. So with Queen Jack versus that range, we are at 45%. I don't think I really want to build a pot with that. I think I can call and then kind of see what happens. He's definitely c-bets a lot. I could call there, and then on the turn, if he checks, I bet we can probably take it away from him. So I kind of think a call is okay. We luck out. Everyone else folds. Flop comes Queen 8-8, which hits us. I'm going to say that this probably doesn't hit our villain. So when you think about Queen 8-8, I mean, he has some 8s there that could have connected for trips, 4% of his range. The queens, he has some hands, but we block quite a few queens. The queen of clubs blocks, ace queen, king queen of clubs, queen jack of clubs. So, when you look at just top pair, it's 12% over. 3 of a kind is another 4%. So under 20% is going to be top pair of trips that hits this board. Yeah, he could have an over pair. That's a 4%. So Add those up 20% of the time, he has top pair or better. So I think we are ahead. He bets 9, and our question is, what's he going to do this with? Well, he c-bets basically his entire range. So I think it is his entire range here. If we raise, what is he going to call with? I bet if we raise, he's going to call only with top pair plus. And probably, I mean, he's got a gut shot over card too. Maybe gut shots. And that's about it. So if we raise and he calls, we're looking at 36%. But if we just call, I think we get into a situation where he may check, we check the turn, and then on the river, if he bets, we call. Or if he checks the river, we bet, we might induce a call. And in that case, we're trying to get one of these pocket pairs below top pairs to call. So jacks, 10s, 9s, or depending on the run out, we're hoping that maybe he hits a pair below the queens that would be willing to call us. So I think a call is sufficient. 9 of diamonds hits. I am not too worried about the 9 of diamonds. Yeah, it gives a straight if you have 10 jack, but I mean, he's got so many other hands in his range that I'm not too worried about it. Now, he does pick up a diamond draw. So what does he do? He checks, no big surprise, means he doesn't hit a hand. So, once he checks, I'm going to take out this, these top pair plus hands. Maybe he has pocket pair less than top pair. No made hand, weak pair, pocket pair below top pair. So we have those hands that he now checks with. We're at 88.6%. If we bet here, I think he calls with his flush draws. And we'll have to take it. We have to discount some of those. We have to discount like the queen jack of diamonds, the king queen diamonds. I think he continues betting those. I think he calls with the flush draw. He might call with jacks and 10s because he's got the gut shot. I don't really think he calls with the middle pair, with the exception of 10-9 and 9-8, or 10-9 and 9 jack, and maybe 9-7. No, not 9-7, just jack 9, 10-9. So with that gut shot. So I think overall he's going to be calling with a very tight range here. But if we check and the turn is, let's say, is a 2 or a 3 non-diamond, and he checks to us, we may now be able to get this pocket pair below top pair, middle pair, and weak pairs to call, because he might say, we're just trying to steal it. I bet, which I think we're going to be at a tight range. So let's get this. We're going to get rid of king queen and queen jack of diamonds and queen 10 of diamonds, and jack 10 of diamonds. We can have ace queen is out. Okay, let's get those. Let's get these out of here again. All right. So we got rid of those. We're going to have pocket pair below top pair. Our middle pair, we said we do not want ace 9 or 9-7. The weaker pairs, I don't think he calls with. The no made hands, he doesn't call with. Open-ended straight draw, we'll call with those. Gut shots, I think we already have the gut shots covered, with the exception of 7-5 and 6-5. I don't know if he'll call those. We'll leave those out. All right, so 13.7% he calls. We're at 81%. And we bet fairly large 2/3 pot. 4 spades comes out. That doesn't help. So he checks. Now what cards can we get to call with. I don't know if we're going to get him to call with anything. I honestly don't think pocket pair below top pair is going to call. Maybe he does, and that's about the only thing that we can hope for. That's 27%. But honestly, even if he has middle pair, I think he's just going to fold. I mean, we bet, especially if we bet larger. If I bet smaller, he might call. So bet smaller, I mean 35. Say about half pot, he may call. But I don't think he's calling enough to justify this bet. So I like my check. And he shows king 10. Do I have king 10 in his range? I don't. I actually don't. So I have him playing king 10. But I think I took all of those hands out. So, when we looked at what he was continuing with, he had king 10 as part of the no-mate hands. Why he called that, I have no idea. Gut shot. Take that back. Gut shot. So all of those gut shot draws. 2-card gut shots. So king 10 suited. He'll have all of those. And then 4 spades hits. And, again, I just don't think he's going to call. So why he called, I have no idea. Called hoping to get a gut shot. He wasn't getting the odds to call. So, yay me. So this is hand number 1. Let me close things out and get hand number 2. Hand number 2 is Jack 9. This is a 6-max table. We're only playing 5-handed. So we have under the gun bets 2.3 big blinds. To me, that's a small bet, especially he's playing 57-30. He's playing a lot of hands. His raise first in from technically middle position. This is his first time. He's done a lot of raising and cutoff and button, and it's entirely possible that we may have been really short-handed, playing 4-handed a lot, and he's just taking advantage of it. I think his bet size though is probably something that's not incredibly strong. Maybe we'll give him all these pocket pairs. Kind of get this to reflect his looseness. Maybe something like this. Give him the bet. The bigger hands he would have raised bigger. Jack 9's just crappy. We should fold here. Maybe in a 6-max game this is okay to play, but I think we should just fold here. I didn't. I called. That's why it's in my database. Small blind calls, so we'll take a look at that, at him as well. So we have pre-flop razor, and now we have the blind. Small blind's playing 34-27. He's called a 2-bet 8% of the time. I do think he's going to be tighter in his range. I think he's capable of 3-betting. I have 3 bets at 9%. So I think his call here maybe something like that. Assume he would raise the smallers. He seems to be a little bit better player. 34-27, still loose. He's definitely a winner. $12 at this point. He's just even. We'll leave that. So we flop top pair. So 9 of hearts. And then 2 diamonds, 7 and 3. And villain 3 checks. I'm going to assume he checks his entire range. I don't have him donk betting at all. Villain 1 checks, which is kind of interesting. He is C-bet quite a lot, so with him checking, he either flopped the absolute monster, but there really isn't any monsters out there, or he missed. So with this range, this kind of helps the caller's range, helps our range a little bit better. We'll give him some credit. I mean, 3 players, I would expect overpair to bet. I think top pair could be checking here. Any of these smaller cards, pocket pair below top pair, I would expect straight sets over pairs to be betting. Maybe even, let's say top pair bets. Let's say pocket pair below top pair checks here. I don't know, 8s with how loose he is. I think any pair is going to check. Or any pair is going to bet. Let's put these weaker pairs. We'll do the no-made hand. I think flush would have bet. Open and straight draws would have bet. I would have assumed gut shots are going to bet. Overcards probably check. 2-card backdoor flushers are going to check. I think any of these pairs, I think any of these combos would have checked. So let's say 74.8%, that's his checking range. Now, how does our Jack 9 do, our top pair? Our top pair actually does pretty good. Against this player, you can see that a 9-7-3 on the board, he is going to miss a huge chunk of the time. So I think here we should bet. I think we should bet here. I bet pot. We're applying pressure. I don't expect him to call unless he hit a hand. Now he check raises, which is kind of interesting. So what is he going to check raise with? I think sets he can check raise with, probably over pairs. Top pairs would be kind of aggressive to do that. So let's check his flop stats. This is the first time he's check raised. So I think he's going to be overpair plus and probably flush draw. Maybe open-ended straight draw. So possibly. Let's kind of take the breakdown. So 25% he does check raise, and about 10% of the time he has a draw. So I think we're going to probably have to call here. So villain folds. All right, so let's get out of this multi-way. Let's add hours. So we are at 70% versus this range. Whoops, on. So we are 29% versus this range. Does he have more in there? Possibly. So you have to think. I just called, and then it went check check, and now I fire out a bet. I obviously don't have any big cards. I don't have the ace king queens. I don't have ace king. All right, probably don't have jacks. So a hand that I likely have is a 9 that I connected with a 9 or a diamond draw. That means he might have been able to check raise with top pair. May have been able to check raise with pocket pair below top pair, maybe with a middle pair, because I went ahead and bet. And now he's applying some pressure on me. And as we start adding the hands, now you can start seeing that my win rates go up. What if he does like any of these gut shots? Our win rate's now at 50%, so I think we can probably call it if we think he's going to do that, if we think he's reading us as trying to steal it. And, I have that information on him, he has this information on me, and it does kind of look like I am somewhat aggressive. On the flop, a float is 0 out of 2. So I don't really have a lot of those opportunities, but when you see my C betting has been somewhat low. Fold C bets have been somewhat high. So he's probably reading me for like a 1 pair hand. I call here, which is probably convincing him that I have a 1 pair hand. And then he checks the ace. And at that point, I think he could have that diamond draw, could have had, ace of diamonds, ace x of diamonds. So you can say any of those that has now hit, top pair. Would he continue betting? Maybe. Or, he checks and hopes that I bet so that he could check raise again. Both of us do have a big stack. Would he bet a set? I do think he would continue betting a set. Because if I have a flush, I might end up calling with the flush draw again. I think he'd bet with two pair. I think he'd probably check this with top pair, maybe. Depends on how aggressive he's going to be with his draws. His C bets, 3 out of 7 in position, 3 out of 3 out of position, and then 0 on the turn. I think I am going to leave these flush draws in there. All of those draws, I'm going to leave these weaker pairs in there as this check. And the no-made hands. So I think he's at that. We've got 57%. I think we should be betting. I think we end up picking up a lot, but I think he's going to call his flush draws. If he raises again, check raises, I think we could be justified in folding. I checked, and maybe I don't know. I just said I think we can bet here. Maybe our best bet is to check behind. If we check behind, we give him a lot of cards that if he bets into us, what would we like calling? I don't think I'd like to call any diamonds. I don't think I'd like to call any jacks. I think king queens I could probably call. I wouldn't be happy, but I think any card above a 9 we're not gonna like. Any 8 or a 6 we're not gonna like. 5 is we probably don't like it. So 4, 3, and 2. That's all. That's about all we'd like. So I think that might argue more for betting here. So I didn't 10 of hearts. I think that's the problem. 8-10 connects and now beats us. What is he going to do? He bets 28. So we bet, called his check raise, and then he bets again. Is he going to bet his sets? Yeah. Is he going to bet his 2 pair, top pair? Yeah. Top pair, he might just check. 2 pair, probably going for value. I think he's trying, same thing, pocket pair below top card, probably go for value. Middle pair, probably go for value. Weak pair, weak pairs and nothing might be betting as a bluff. So if he's betting those as a bluff, we have to call. We only need 26, we're getting 73. Or we have 73. If he's going to check, or if he's going to bet his top pair hands, well, basically versus his entire range. Hold on. Yeah, we had all of his checking cards. Yeah, based on this, we should be calling. We're getting the odds, even if he bets his entire range here. We have 57% equity. I did call, and he shows 7-5. So we didn't have 7-5 in his range, but I think the 7-6 suited, 7-6 of hearts. I think if he had it, I didn't have those in his initial ranges. So, calling here maybe like that. I still think he would call. He check raised with middle pair, and I called, and it kind of suggested I have top pair. The turn check leads to him thinking maybe I have diamonds. I'm going to stand by my turn check. I think if I bet he folds this 7-5. I think he folds a 7. I think he folds a 3. I think he folds probably 8s, 6s. 8s and 6s. So if he calls the turn, he probably has me beat. So I think checking the turn is again, which one's better? Don't know. The hand worked out. I don't know. Have a whole lot of information on the player. I didn't take notes of this player, but definitely, yeah. Maybe I should have bet. Maybe I should have played aggressively on the turn. If he calls, then check behind on the river because I have showdown value hand. Well, all right. This is our last hand for the night. Look tomorrow for a couple more.